I'd like to withdraw $10 billion. When I said this, Amy, a fresh graduate bank employee at a major bank, gave me a mocking smile.
Excuse me? Is this some bottom-tier company going bankrupt?
Calling my company bottom tier, it was so absurd that I couldn't help but laugh. If my company is bottom tier, then every company dealing with your bank falls under the same category, don't they?
What are you laughing at? That's so creepy.
Seeing me laugh calmly instead of getting upset, Amy frowned. Didn't they teach you who I am? You're woefully underprepared.
Who? Who are you?
It seems things are starting to move now. Since Amy was staring at me, she didn't notice the movement behind her. I checked the employees gathering behind her and raised my voice. I'm closing an account worth $100 billion.
Wait, $100 billion?
I tried to tell you several times who I am, but you just mocked me without listening properly. The look of shock on Amy's face as she glanced around at the gathering employees was amusing. This bank might collapse, you know. My name is Susan Smith. I'm 52 years old and run a sandwich shop called Bloom, offering delicious sandwiches under the concept of something you'd crave even when full. Aside from managing this sandwich shop, I have another job. But right now, I'm enjoying running the shop and spending my days researching ideas for tasty sandwiches and ingredients. Welcome! Today's special is avocado mayonnaise sandwiches. As soon as the shop opened, a flood of customers poured in. The area is surrounded by large corporations, so plenty of office workers came by that day as well.
Avocado mayo is the new special?
A young female customer, who had been coming in often since spring, struck up a conversation. Honestly, I sighed a little to myself, thinking, here she comes again. She was young and had a cute face, but there was something audacious and frustrating about her aura. Welcome. Yes, that's right. Please give it a try.
How much is it?
The price is $5. I had a bad feeling, and as expected, she said,
Make it $4. It's a new item, right? I'll taste test it for you.
I'm sorry, but we can't offer discounts to individual customers.
Why not? I'm offering to judge if it's good enough to become a staple menu item.
Since I had no need for such judgment, I could only remain silent. She snorted, crossing her arms and glaring at me. I've told you before, negotiations over price are difficult, as I mentioned.
Don't you know the meaning of customer service? I come here every day even though it's not that great.
This customer constantly demanded discounts, freebies, or excessive service every time she came in. Even though I gently tried to explain that it wasn't possible, she raised her voice in frustration, drawing annoyed looks from other customers.
At least give me free toppings sometimes. I come here every day, don't I?
Customers in the shop looked visibly exasperated. After making her unreasonable demands and realizing I wouldn't comply, she'd leave in a huff, or so I thought. But that day, she ended up ordering 3 sandwiches, including the avocado mayo special, along with soup and toppings. And she shamelessly ate them in the shop.
What is this? Avocado mayo? It's awful.
As usual, she didn't forget to complain, but she ate everything without leaving a bite before leaving with her scathing critique. What is she even trying to accomplish? It seemed more customers were opting for takeout, likely to avoid sharing space with her during their lunch breaks. Despite my attempts to subtly warn her, her behavior only escalated, making the atmosphere unpleasant for everyone. However, what happened next opened an unexpected door that would solve this issue, something I never imagined. It all tied back to my other job, unrelated to running this sandwich shop. One day, as I was about to close the shop, that same customer walked in again.
A ham and cheese sandwich and a club sandwich.
I had no choice. There was still bread left, and I saw the woman already heading to the table in the back. Reluctantly, I decided to take her order. If I refused, she'd probably raise her voice in frustration again, and I didn't have the courage to deal with that. Since I was working alone that evening, it was just the two of us in the shop. She might cause trouble when leaving again. With that thought, I quickly took down the shop curtain and brought the sandwiches to her. Here you go. Thanks for waiting.
Hey, about these sandwiches.
Thinking she was about to complain, I braced myself, but instead, she said something unexpected.
Teach me how to make them.
Excuse me? Well, our recipes are kind of a trade secret. Our sandwiches don't fall apart easily, so customers often ask how we make them. But it's not something I can explain in a single sentence. For anyone not serious about learning, I usually say it's a trade secret, and they leave it at that.
Why is the bread so crisp? And how do the fillings stay in place so perfectly? That's what I'm asking.
Her question was so basic that I was both baffled and surprised. Maybe try using sandwich molds. They're available for sale.
No way. It has to be handmade. That's the only way to impress a man, right?
For some reason, she glared at me, leaving me at a loss. At the same time, I was surprised to think that even this ill-tempered, irritable woman might have a boyfriend.
Write down a clear guide on how to make your sandwiches. Got it.
No, we don't offer that kind of service. I made a troubled face, but it clearly wasn't going to work on someone like her.
And today, you'll give me a discount, right?
She grinned smugly, and I sighed at yet another haggling attempt.
Supermarkets discount their food after certain hours, so you should do the same.
As expected, she demanded both a recipe and a discount. Finally fed up with her arrogance, I decided to push back. In that case, how about buying all the leftover toppings and sandwiches?
Are you trying to offload unsold items onto a customer?
Do you think a business provides services for no reason or purpose? Every shop offers service based on its own policies. Feeling I had stood my ground, I walked away from the table. Not long after, the woman left in a huff, clearly irritated. If I never see a customer like her again, it'll be too soon. I felt utterly drained as I went to clean her table, only to be shocked by what I found. The table was littered with garbage. Apparently, her ever-present bag had been stuffed with trash. I cleaned up, marveling at the sheer amount of it. If she showed up again, I resolved to tell her not to return. The next day, I found myself running to the bank while still wearing my sandwich shop apron. I'd realized that the lease for the shop space was about to be renewed, and I needed to deposit $30,000 that very day. Planning to take care of it as soon as the bank opened, I left the morning prep to my staff and rushed out. I arrived at Summit Bank's main branch, a bank I had a long-standing relationship with through my other job. After taking a queue ticket and waiting a while, a female teller stood up and called my number. As I approached the counter, I couldn't hide my surprise. The teller was, "Hello, I didn't know you worked at this bank." It was the same abrasive, ill-tempered customer from my shop. Hearing my voice, the woman glanced at me. That's when I noticed her name tag and learned her name was Amy. Deciding to put aside the littering incident for now, I greeted her politely. "I'm sorry about the other day, not being able to teach you the sandwich recipe."
Never mind that. What's your business here?
She had been all smiles with other customers, but when addressing me, she frowned and spoke curtly. Her expression was intimidating, and I couldn't help but stammer in response. "Well, I'd like to withdraw $30,000. As I said this while pulling out my bank card, Amy gave me a visibly exasperated look.
Oh, for a withdrawal of that amount, we need to check with the branch manager.
"Really? Then, could you ask them as soon as possible? I'm quite busy since I need to open my sandwich shop soon."
Sure. Please wait here.
The bank had just opened, and it was already bustling with customers. The counters looked very busy. Still, I thought I'd be able to get back in time to open my shop at 11:30. Naturally, that's what I assumed. But even after 30 minutes, then an hour, my name wasn't called. Thinking this was odd, I decided to gently ask Amy what was happening. "Excuse me, about the $30,000 withdrawal, has the branch manager—"
Oh, the branch manager? They're actually running late today. Please wait a little longer.
Amy didn't even make eye contact, nor did she apologize. Her cold, indifferent tone was starting to irritate me. "Wait a minute, when is the branch manager supposed to arrive?" As Amy began calling the next customer, I hurriedly asked.
Who knows? I'll let you know if I find out.
She moved on to the next customer. Apparently, I had no choice but to wait. I tried to calm my growing frustration and waited another hour. Before opening, I had to prepare the ingredients, bread, and side dishes. Even though a staff member was there to help, I couldn't leave everything to them. While giving instructions over the phone, I continued to wait impatiently for another hour. It had already been 3 hours since I arrived at the bank. By lunchtime, the bank had quieted down significantly, with only a few customers left. I noticed Amy was about to leave her counter. Feeling desperate, I approached another staff member walking around the floor to ask, "Excuse me, is the branch manager still not here? I heard they were running late." The staff member's response was surprising. The branch manager had been there the entire time and hadn't been late at all. I glanced toward the person they pointed out and was taken aback. The branch manager was a woman I didn't recognize. That's when I remembered the former branch manager had visited one of my other workplaces to announce their departure. While I was processing this, the new branch manager left the area. "Hey, Amy!" I called out loudly to Amy, who was still near the counter.
Oh, you're still here? It seems the branch manager already arrived.
"Don't it seems me. I just heard from someone else that the branch manager wasn't late at all."
Really? That's what I heard. Maybe there was a mistake.
Her casual grin made it clear this was no mistake. It was deliberate. "Anyway, go talk to the branch manager about my $30,000 withdrawal right now."
There's no need to ask them.
What are you talking about? Earlier, you said large withdrawals require the branch manager's approval. Anger bubbled up inside me as I realized how much of my valuable preparation time had been wasted. Despite my frustration, Amy remained as smug as ever. When I pressed her for an explanation, she casually replied,
I was prioritizing other important customers.
"What? Important customers? I'm a customer too, and I was about to mention that I wasn't just a sandwich shop owner when another customer arrived. Amy immediately turned on her charm, smiling warmly at them. Left with no choice, I stepped away from the counter. Spotting the same floor staff member from earlier, I approached them again. "My name is Susan Smith. Could you please call the branch manager for me?" Upon hearing my name, the staff member's eyes widened. They seemed far more informed about customers than Amy. The staff quickly returned, apologizing and explaining that the branch manager had stepped out. I thanked them and turned to glare at Amy, who was now smiling brightly as she assisted another customer. My anger solidified my decision. If the branch manager wasn't available, I'd confront Amy directly. I approached her counter. Amy noticed me and made a face that seemed to say, "Not this annoying customer again." I looked her straight in the eye and said firmly, "I'd like to withdraw $10 billion. Amy responded with a mocking smile.
A stingy sandwich shop owner like you couldn't possibly withdraw that much money. Even a new employee like me knows that much.
"I can withdraw it. Just go and tell the branch manager. Understood?" Still showing no signs of belief, Amy let slip something she really shouldn't have said.
What? Is your bottom-tier company going bankrupt?
Being called a bottom-tier company made me laugh instead. If my company is a bottom-tier one, then every company doing business with this bank falls under the same category, wouldn't you say?
What are you laughing at? That's so creepy.
Amy frowned, clearly unsettled by my calm, mocking laughter. "Have you not been told who I am? That's a serious lack of preparation."
Oh, who are you supposed to be?
Despite my repeated attempts to tell her that I have 2 jobs, Amy refused to listen and was about to face the consequences of her ignorance. Amy focused on me, completely unaware of what was happening behind her. I noticed the gathering employees and spoke up in a loud, clear voice. "I'm closing an account worth $100 billion.
What? $100 billion?
Her jaw dropped as she glanced at the growing crowd of employees around us, clearly realizing this was no ordinary situation. That's right. My name and the closure of a $100 billion account. Relay that to the branch manager, and everything will make sense. This bank might even collapse." I gave Amy a smile and left the bank. That evening, Amy brazenly showed up at my sandwich shop. I was amazed by her sheer nerve. "You got a lot of guts to come here, don't you?" From her demeanor, it was clear she hadn't come to apologize.
I was a bit startled when you mentioned $100 billion. But the more I think about it, the more ridiculous it seems.
She looked around the shop as she spoke. It was understandable she wouldn't believe it, thinking I was merely a sandwich shop owner. I considered explaining, but changed my mind. Just then, a black car pulled up outside the shop. Amy, facing away, didn't notice, but I immediately recognized who had arrived. A woman in a black suit skirt stepped out, exuding an aura of authority. She glanced at me briefly before heading toward the back of the shop.
Cheese and egg, and also pickles.
Ignoring what had happened earlier, Amy ordered a sandwich and, as usual, made an audacious demand.
You should give me the pickle sandwich for free. You lied and startled me earlier, after all.
It wasn't a lie, and if I came to the bank, that excellent floor staff probably informed the branch manager.
Oh, shut up. Right now, I'm a customer, aren't I? If you don't offer me good service, I'll spread bad rumors about this place.
As Amy smirked, the woman in the black suit skirt quietly approached her.
Don't you think it's incredibly rude to demand special treatment?
The woman's commanding presence made Amy freeze. This woman was my younger sister, Kate. I had already told her about Amy, the troublesome customer, and informed her of the incident at the bank earlier. She had come to hear the full story, but ended up running into Amy herself. Without revealing any surprise, Kate cornered Amy.
You clearly have no idea what kind of place this shop truly is, do you?
What kind of place? Isn't it just a sandwich shop?
Kate chuckled knowingly and continued.
Is bargaining over a small amount of money really that much fun? This is why I can't stand cheap people.
She intentionally mocked Amy, laughing exaggeratedly to provoke her. Stung by the insult, Amy took the bait and lashed out.
It's not about the money. I just want to make people do as I say.
Make people do as you say? So you're not actually seeking better service?
Exactly. Between someone toiling in a tiny shop like this and me, an employee at a prestigious bank, it's obvious who's superior. Commoners should obey elites.
Now that she'd started, Amy couldn't stop herself and continued her tirade.
I work at Summit Bank, a prestigious institution. I've worked hard to become part of the elite.
Amy looked at us with an expression that screamed, "How about that?" Both Kate and I couldn't help but laugh.
What's so funny? Why are you laughing too?
You really don't get it, do you? I'm not just the manager of a sandwich shop. Fine, I'll visit your so-called prestigious bank tomorrow and show you. My confident tone finally seemed to unsettle Amy, making her suspect there was more to me than she realized.
Well, it's not like anything you say here will get me in trouble.
Then, feel free to keep thinking that way. Kate and I escorted Amy out, and I firmly told her one last thing. Don't come back here again.
Not that you could even if you wanted to.
As Kate and I stared her down, something seemed to dawn on Amy.
Wait, could it be your sisters?
It seems I was too late to realize it. The next day, instead of wearing my apron, I went to the bank, dressed in a suit similar to Kate's. Although we were in a position where the bank should be the one visiting us, Kate and I deliberately entered through the main front entrance together that day. The employees greeting customers seemed overwhelmed by our presence, whispering among themselves. From where we stood, I could see Amy sitting at the front counter. Ignoring the number ticket system, we walked straight to Amy's counter. Amy, noticing the sound of our heels clicking, looked up and froze when she saw me. Not in my usual apron, but in a sharp black suit, I caught her completely off guard.
Did you actually come here?
Amy barely managed to speak, her face visibly pale. Of course, as I told you yesterday, I'm here to close the $100 billion account. Seeing me say this so confidently, She must have realized I wasn't an ordinary person. Amy was visibly trembling and seemed unable to speak further. I am Susan Smith of the S&T Group. Call the branch manager immediately.
Wait, S&T Group? As in the multinational trading company?
Yes, exactly. Didn't I tell you yesterday? Running a sandwich shop isn't my only job. Amy was completely deflated, her eyes darting around nervously. Noticing this, a floor staff member who had been watching quickly realized who we were and offered to escort us to the back. In the meeting room we were taken to, the female branch manager introduced earlier by the staff walked in.
We deeply apologize for the repeated discourtesy of our employees.
As she spoke, the branch manager glanced at me twice. Realizing that I was also the sandwich shop owner, it became clear she was one of my customers.
I never imagined that the sandwich shop manager was affiliated with the S&T Group.
To this, I replied, shaking my head in disbelief. You haven't even come to introduce yourself since taking this position. I was informed that the branch manager had changed.
Well, I've just been so busy, and for that, I truly apologize.
Her excuse was outrageous. Claiming she was too busy to make introductions demonstrated how little she understood the significance of our company as a client.
Well, it seems like the branch manager matches the quality of that employee, doesn't it?
Kate muttered under her breath, and I nodded firmly. We're here for one reason. We're moving the $100 billion we deposited in this bank. Complete the procedure immediately. At that moment, a woman who introduced herself as the vice president entered with another executive and a pale-faced Amy in tow.
On behalf of both our staff and the branch manager, we sincerely apologize for this series of mistakes.
The vice president was a woman, and I remembered seeing the news when she became the bank's first female vice president. Well, that's certainly the case, especially since this newly hired employee kept me waiting for 3 hours and even lied to me. It seemed Amy had confessed to everything. The vice president continued to apologize for her employee's mistakes. Suddenly, a childlike sobbing echoed through the room.
But I didn't know she was such an important person.
Instead of apologizing, Amy started crying, leaving me too stunned to respond.
I also failed in my supervision. I'm truly sorry.
Even the branch manager apologized with tears in her eyes. Noticing this, the vice president addressed both of them while continuing to apologize to us.
You too. Tears have no place in the business world. Before you cry, acknowledge your mistakes and apologize properly.
I was relieved that the vice president still had some sense. She's absolutely right. Crying in a situation like this is just pathetic. That's why women aren't taken seriously. As sisters who succeeded our father's position, we've lost count of how many times we were questioned if women could handle the role. Hearing this, the two wiped their tears.
We deeply apologize for everything.
Enough with the apologies. What was the meaning behind your ridiculous behavior toward me? It seemed the issues extended beyond what happened at the bank. The vice president glared at Amy, while the branch manager nervously looked at her.
I was annoyed because she wouldn't teach me how to make her sandwiches, and she even scolded me at the shop. And on top of that, they wouldn't give me a discount despite me going there.
That's it.
It was just a bit of stress relief and a childish prank.
Her explanation about stress relief seemed connected to her "commoners should obey elites" comment. Still, her excuse sounded more like a child's reasoning, so I asked her, "How did you even come to relieve your stress at a sandwich shop?"
Well, it wasn't much of a place, and the staff were mostly older women.
Amy's comment made both Kate and me burst out laughing. On the other hand, the vice president glared at Amy, who had blatantly dismissed my shop as nothing special, while the branch manager kept apologizing profusely.
If I had known from the start that you were connected to such a large corporation, I never would have done this.
Whoa, so my shop is nothing special. According to her, we're just a couple of middle-aged women.
Laughing, I nodded at Kate's words and decided to educate Amy thoroughly. Listen carefully. The person next to me is Kate Smith, the fifth-generation CEO of the S&T Group. And I am Susan Smith, the Executive Vice President. Our group has deposited $100 billion in this bank.
Middle-aged women. As executives? And really, a $100 billion deposit?
That's right. Now, can you imagine what would happen if we moved all $100 billion out of this bank? Amy's face turned even paler.
Bankruptcy.
Exactly. I specialize in managing these deposits, and it's entirely up to me where and how our funds are moved. Amy collapsed to the ground as if her strength had left her, while the branch manager turned pale. Kate added with a smile,
By the way, you mentioned that the shop was full of middle-aged women. Those women are all wives of CEOs from our affiliate companies.
"That's right. The sandwich shop is just a hobby of mine, and these CEO wives help out as a form of social engagement." I nodded at Kate's explanation, revealing the truth behind the shop. Amy, now visibly aged despite being young, turned to us with a look of disbelief.
We sincerely apologize for the lack of proper training and transition. It was a failure on our part.
After our discussion ended, the vice president and another executive profusely apologized.
As for the future of these two individuals, we will proceed according to your judgment. We assure you that we will implement thorough training for all employees to ensure this never happens again. Could you grant us one more chance?
Hearing the vice president's plea, Kate and I exchanged glances. "Very well. Show us what you consider the best course of action," I said, leaving the decision to the vice president. Depending on their decision, we were prepared to move the $100 billion, and it seemed they understood that. Hearing this exchange, Amy, trembling uncontrollably, suddenly shouted,
I'm truly sorry.
We ignored her words and turned to the vice president, maintaining a firm stance. "You have 3 days. We'll await your response." We calmly exited the meeting room, leaving them behind. That evening, while at the sandwich shop, I was surprised to see an unexpected visitor.
I'm truly sorry for everything.
Amy stood before me, pale-faced, apologizing. But what good would that do now? As I said earlier, we've left everything to the vice president's judgment. Seeing that I was unyielding, Amy began to tear up again.
I finally got into a mega bank. And at the headquarters, no less.
That's unfortunate. You shouldn't have come to my shop in the first place.
I came because your sandwiches were delicious. Making something so good ruined my life.
Still blaming others, I was exasperated and decided to set her straight. Your narrow-mindedness, biased thinking, and self-centered arrogance brought this upon you. Hit by my words, Amy seemed at a loss for a retort. By the way, I hadn't intended to mention it, but now I felt like telling her everything. You wanted to learn how to make sandwiches because you had a crush on one of my customers, didn't you? I had noticed her sending longing glances toward one of the shop's regulars and assumed it was for a romantic interest.
That's not true.
Oh, is that so? Well, I'm glad to hear it. I already told him everything about your misbehavior.
No way.
You're 100 years too early to even think about falling in love. After causing so much trouble for others. With Amy now sobbing again, I kicked her out of the shop and firmly rolled down the shutters. The next day before the deadline, the vice president contacted us. At S&T Group's headquarters, the vice president and another executive delivered their decision.
Amy has been transferred to a regional subsidiary, and the branch manager has been demoted and reassigned to a bank in the Asian market.
A subsidiary meant Amy was no longer a bank employee. Remembering how she flaunted her position at the megabank's headquarters, Kate and I exchanged approving nods. The branch manager has been sent far away. It's a fitting decision for taking responsibility. Let's decide to hold off on moving the $100 billion. The vice president once again expressed her gratitude and apologies before leaving, and I felt a deep sense of relief, knowing I had finally succeeded in getting rid of the troublesome customer. Time passed, and peace returned to my daily life. One day, while working at the sandwich shop, I overheard an unexpected conversation between customers. Apparently, they were talking about employees from Summit Bank, and I caught bits and pieces mentioning Amy and the branch manager. From what I gathered, Amy had been disliked within the bank, and when she was transferred to the subsidiary, no farewell party or even a goodbye was held for her. As for the branch manager, they had hurriedly transferred overseas to an affiliated bank in Asia without saying a word of farewell. I found it interesting to hear how their actions reflected their true character, but it was already a matter of the past. It had nothing to do with me, and the memory quickly faded into the distance. About half a year later, I heard some surprising news. Amy had reportedly retired from her job at the subsidiary due to marriage. The source of this information was a female employee from Summit Bank who knew about my run-ins with Amy. She shared the news while buying a sandwich. According to her, Amy's husband was the heir of a well-known company. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of man would marry someone like Amy, but as if reading my thoughts, the bank employee provided more details. It turned out her husband was an arrogant and difficult man, and Amy was now facing considerable hardships. Worse yet, she was stuck in the marriage as her in-laws, who were very strict, refused to allow a divorce. Living with her domineering in-laws, she was treated more like a housemaid than a wife. It seemed that Amy had been blinded by her husband's prestigious title as an heir and failed to see his true nature, a mistake only she could make. But this was no longer my concern, or so I thought, until one day I spotted Amy again. Our sandwich shop had been doing well, and we had opened a second location. To my surprise, Amy walked into the new shop. She looked haggard and completely unlike the wife of a corporate heir. I quietly observed her as she ordered the cheapest ham sandwich and began haggling over the price. At first, I was annoyed, but I quickly realized this was no longer her old habit of bargaining for fun. She was genuinely struggling and desperate to save every penny. Reluctantly, I agreed to her request, only for her to notice me and freeze in shock. In that instant, I regretted showing her any kindness.
Manager. I mean, executive vice president. Please let me work here.
Tears streaming down her face, Amy began to plead about how miserable her married life was and how she had been mistreated. She confessed that her rushed decision to marry had only led to unhappiness.
I became a CEO's wife too, so I should be qualified to work here, right?
How could she still be so shameless? Depending on others won't bring you happiness, and I have no intention of working with someone I can't trust. I flatly rejected her. Just then, a luxury car pulled up outside the shop. A man in the driver's seat gestured for Amy to get in. Handing him my S&T Group business card, I said, "Please ensure your wife never comes to this shop again." I wanted nothing more to do with her. The driver, recognizing my name, quickly understood the situation. He nodded before driving away with Amy. Watching the car disappear into the distance, I finally felt that the matter was truly behind me. Both sandwich shops continued to thrive.
Why not bring the sandwich business under S&T Group's umbrella if it grows any bigger?
Kate joked with a playful smile. I quickly retorted, "I won't make it any bigger. I want to keep making the sandwiches myself." Leaving most of the corporate management to Kate, I had achieved my dream. Without her support, my selfish desires would never have come true, and I felt nothing but gratitude toward her.
I understand. Just take care of yourself, okay? You're still responsible for the company's key operations.
Smiling, I nodded, silently promising to continue supporting Kate as we steered our large company together. I hoped that our parents in heaven were watching over us with smiles, proud of what we had become.